This series' key topic is on the real-time collaboration and coordination with Archicad. So without further ado, let me begin. So this is the calendar for this series on every Thursday, 5 p.m. The webinar session will provide insights on the effective usage of Graphisoft BIMCloud for better collaboration, along with improvement on communication via visual aids of BIMX and documentation with Issue Manager. We'll also be sharing the hotlink concept that is aimed at facilitating greater collaboration among different disciplines like architectural, structural, and MEP. So we hope throughout the session, you are able to get insights on how to bring your collaboration to the next level with the use of these dynamic tools. So today's session agenda will be covering on Graphisoft BIMCloud solution towards better collaboration by sharing the concept of Archicad teamwork and the BIMCloud manager. In today's session, I seek for those experienced Archicad users to understand that there will be basic workflows or concept will be run through for those new users who are joining today as well. So collaboration is becoming more and more important because of the following factor. Larger and complex project involving more and more different stakeholders to bring the project to success. This could mean also stakeholders from the different parts of the world. Global companies, and this applies to global companies which have multiple locations working on the same project. And productivity, which is always the key focus on any project, and increased productivity can be achieved with smoother communication and collaboration. And this includes dividing the project to smaller tasks to carry out various tasks simultaneously. Lastly, the new trend of home office policy after the COVID lockdown makes it harder for collaboration to take place. Hence, the need for smoother communication and collaboration is needed. So some companies are facing either one of the factors or all the factors at the same time. So how can Graphisoft BIMCloud enhance your collaboration? So in a nutshell, it secures real-time collaboration regardless of the size and complexity of the project and the location of the office. So this is achievable from these features in our BIMCloud, and Graphisoft offer three different types of BIMCloud services: the BIMCloud Basic, the BIMCloud, and the BIMCloud Software as a Service. So the first four features are provided in our BIMCloud Basic that comes with the Archicad license. The basic teamwork function to do collaboration, Delta technology, where it sends only the changes, providing a seamless working experience, communicate within the project, which refer to the use of messaging function in teamwork, and the basic permission system. And not saying that these four features are not good enough for collaboration, but BIMCloud and BIMCloud as a service have furthermore features that enhance the collaboration, starting with the advanced teamwork with reservation assistant and intelligent project libraries. Next is the BIMX Pro license and communication that allows instant messaging between Archicad and BIMX. And that means that you will never lose track of your notes or changes to the model, and also explore teamwork project regardless of 3D model size, print, and save favorite views or custom presentation. And then we have the advanced permission system that set up team roles and responsibility quickly and easily by creating groups with specific access permission. Then also the BIMCloud Delta Cache, and this component optimize data transfer between Archicad clients and the BIMCloud server by caching the data on the client side. So once an Archicad client downloads a part of the project, the data will be cached locally by the BIMCloud Delta Cache and offered to the next client who requests the same. And also the file server function that acts like multidisciplinary model hub, where it hosts any files like SAF and BCF and anything else that is important to the project: site photos, manufacturer catalogs, building permits, and more. So let me give you a better understanding via our BIMCloud teamwork concept. So over here, you can see that we have a solo Archicad file. And to share this with the rest of the team, for collaboration, the file will be uploaded to BIMCloud, where it becomes a teamwork project, and it becomes accessible to all other parties. And you have the option to use it on the local network, or user can also join with the remote office through the internet. And then you have the next user who joins will receive the data that was previously cached locally with the Delta Cache technology. And now the two users can start collaborating. While working on the model, the advanced team working feature of reservation assistant helps you to reserve the elements without clicking on reserving. Any changes made will be sent across by the Delta technology that sends only the changes, thus allowing a seamless working experience. Not only that, the file server function allows you to host any files of any format, and with the advanced project on team management that allows multi-level folders and advanced group or team level permission for better project organization. Then you also have the browser management, which helps you to coordinate and set permission and the roles on who can access and what can they see. Then we also have the option to connect with the BIMX Pro mobile connection to the BIMCloud to use the teamwork messaging. So let's say on site, a site manager who have a question, he can connect directly to this BIMX mobile version to the BIMCloud, and he can connect to the designer with whatever questions he have. So now let me move on to the live demo of this teamwork concept. So in this live demo, I'll be using the Vida Patio sample project, which you guys can find on our Graphisoft community and have this as a teamwork project. So I already shared it, so you can actually share your design project onto the BIMCloud as a teamwork project by going to teamwork project and share. And other user can actually join or open the teamwork project by going by selecting this option. So if they select this option, so in this dialog box on the top left, this is where you can log in your BIMCloud server, and you can also refresh them. And on the right, this is where you can log in to your different users. And on the left panel, you can see all the projects that you have on your BIMCloud server. And right now, I already go to my project folder, and I can actually join from here. So I already joined, so I will not do anything, and I'll close this. And now to use the teamwork fully for collaboration purpose, I will open the teamwork palette, which I already opened, and you can actually find this through the teamwork tab and go to teamwork palette. So on this teamwork palette, from the top, you can see the username, which is this is my name, and then you can also see your work status. And on this small little arrow, it will open up 3 different options. You can open the BIMCloud manager from here, and you can also work offline. So if you work offline, you still can make changes, and these changes will be can be sent when you come back online. And let's say when you log in to your teamwork project, but your status shows that you are offline, while other users in this teamwork project have no issue of joining online. So you can run this network diagnostic, which will help you to check your BIMCloud status. So right now my BIMCloud status is accessible. And moving on to the next section is the workspace. So under this workspace, you can see that there are 3 different commands: send and receive, reserve, and release all. So first of all, all users should always send and receive and release all before they end work, so that other users can still work on the elements that they have reserved before and have an update of the model. So now I will show you an example of how to use the send and receive, reserve, and release all. So an unreserved element, when I click on it, it will be highlighted in light green with gray color hotspot. So if I reserve it, now you'll turn to a bright green with a black color hotspot. So if I release it, it will return to the same as previous. So over here in these 3 commands, you can see that there are actually drop-down buttons. So if you click on the drop-down buttons, it will show you more options that helps you to collaborate even better. So right now, in this teamwork project, I have my colleague Vimal joining me to work on this project as a showcase of an example. So I'm in charge of the lower part of this teamwork project, where I will reserve, and Vimal is actually in charge of the upper portion of this ground floor. So Vimao in this teamwork project, his role is to add on furnitures, doors, and window. And for me, I'll be assisting in all the miscellaneous stuff. So in this scenario, I've actually received a client new input to change the living or dining room floor to timber finish, which is this area. So over here, you can see that because this area has been reserved by Vimao, so I will need to request from him. So then this dialog box will appear where you will see you will send to Vimao and you will put up a request like something like this. Then you also can put in a view, or you can actually remove the view if you don't need. And you also show the requested elements, which is one number of it, and I will send the request. Sorry, just give me a moment. So I have another pop-up. So I will request now. So Vimao should be receiving this request. And now I can actually reserve this element. As he already granted my request, so I'll reserve this element. So now I'll make the necessary changes, which the client input is to change this to from stone to timber flooring as the same as the top portion. So I'll make the necessary changes. And now I will use this command, which is to send changes and comment. And in this dialog box, I can actually notify others by message. So I'll be sending to Vimao, and I can actually put in a message saying that, hi Vimao, I have actually made the necessary changes. Please receive changes so that you can put the necessary furnitures for it. And over here, you can also put there's tasks like receive changes, or you can just put none. So in this case, I want him to receive the changes, so I can click receive changes and I send. So meanwhile, while he's working on that, I'll be adding a new wall over here, which is for this garage. So I can actually pick up parameter and pick on this wall and add in a new wall here. So right now in this scenario, I actually require Vimao assistant. So I can actually right click, and this is one of the tips on better collaboration, which is you can assign selected elements to any of the users in this teamwork project. So I'll be assigning this to Vimao. And the thing that I need help from him is actually to place the door, because he has the knowledge of what type of door will be placed for the garage. So I will say, please assist in placing the required door. And so I can capture this view again, and I can see that the element assigned is 1. So you will have this pop up before assigning modified elements. You must send them to the server. So I will send them to the server and also assign to BIMCloud. But I also realized that I did not actually send him at another wall so that he can put the door as well. So I can, in this drop down, I can actually release all unmodified elements. So since I didn't do any modification over there, I can just use this command. So now BIMCloud should be able to add in the doors for this garage and this garage. So after he have done the necessary changes, BIMCloud will actually use another function, which is to, if I right click over here, you can actually see is review selected items. So you can actually select the items and send it to me for review on the location of the door, whether is it appropriate. So now moving on to the next session. So we'll wait for BIMCloud as he places the thing in. Okay, so moving on to the next section is the color workspaces. Oh, but before that, I will show you how to do reserve for the other portion as well. So if other than reserving the elements here, you can also reserve like your views and elements from here. So if I right click from my view map on any of the views, there's two options. One is to reserve element. If I reserve element, this will pop up showing which is the project region. And if I reserve the element, and it's showing me that I have a large reservation result dialog box. And this is showing me that I actually have whatever that I've tried to reserve, I have conflict with others. So if I select this, I can show conflict. And this conflict is because BIMCloud is reserving this area, but when I try to reserve the element, I'm trying to reserve the entire element of this 3D perspective view. So over here, you can just now already show you how to show the conflict, and you can also request and also release. So you can find this dialog from this request dropdown reservation result. And if you just want to actually reserve the view itself, you can actually click on this option, which is to just reserve the view itself. So right now you will see that there's a green dot and that represents editable, and you have already reserved it. So same for the layout book. And if you go to the publisher set, if you try to reserve the publisher set, it will actually pop up and actually tells you this reservation of the publisher set requires you to receive the current state of the project. So you'll receive everything from others and reserve this. So this will give you the most updated model itself. And let's say you want to do reservation for your composite material. So let's say you go to option, element attribute, and you go to composite. You cannot actually, for this, let's say you want to reserve double 50 block cavity, and you click reserve. This reservation actually does not only reserve this particular composite, but for the entire dialog box. So this applies to all the element attributes. So now I'll move on to the color workspaces. So I'll go back to ground floor. So right now, the first option, which is all with original color. And right now you can see this is the original color. And if I select on the gray out unowned workspace, so you can see that BIMCloud actually have reserved this area, so it'll be gray out, and whichever portion that I have reserved will still have the original color. And if I highlight my reservation, this will actually highlight whichever that I have reserved in red color and the others in gray color. And also, if let's say you go to this option of show reservation by user, so this color actually is based on the user colors over here. So green is represented by me and yellow is Vimao. So we'll move on to the next. Own elements. So in own elements, for those own element is in original color, then the free elements will be in blue and the other workspaces will be in gray. Then if you choose this option, request by me, from me and other, so there's no request from me or by me and other elements. So you will just grey out everything. Then the next one, the highlight track changes. This will be covered actually on the later portion of this session. So moving on to the next item, which is my workspace. So this will actually, if you click on this, it will show you like which of the areas that you're working on. So you can actually click this and show. So this is just an example. Then moving on to the next section, which is the user section. So over here, you can see whichever users that is in this teamwork project. And in this case, it's only me and Vimao. And if you right click here, you can see there are 4 different options. So these 4 different options are also able to be found at the bottom of this section. So if you set the user, you can also set user color, and whatever that you set will only be reflected on your interface and will not be affected on Vimao's interface. And if you would like to set any user settings, this will actually opens up the BIMCloud manager, and you can also force user to leave project. So if I were to send him a message, so it will appear like the send and comment, etc. So I can actually remove myself and actually add Vimao in. And over here, you can also set priority in terms of your message. Then you can also capture view again. So over here, you can have different tasks like send changes, receive changes, and etc. So I can actually say like, hi Vimao, when is your team ready with the model for collaboration? Then I can actually put under the option task as none. So moving on to the next section, which is the messaging function. So earlier on, so Vimao had actually sent me this message to review. So I can open message, which is on the door that he worked on. So I can actually apply the view and click on the show element, which is these 2 walls, and I can actually reply or move to complete. So in this case, I think that the door position is okay, so I'll just move to complete. So if I move to complete, at the top here in the message function, you will see that there is to do, my pending request, and completed. So I've shifted it to completed. And if let's say I send anything such as I request for element and Vimao have not grant me the request, it will actually pops up here, my pending request. So at the bottom of this message section, you also have 3 icons, which is to send new message, reply message, and move to complete. So if I click on this, I can actually click on this to reply to message. So moving on to the track changes sections. So track changes, these track changes actually happen over BIMCloud, where user can follow subtract changes, and this can benefit for close collaboration with rapid iteration of different design scenarios. So change tracking will actually allow user to be notified of the relevant changes made to the model because of the different design scenarios. So you can actually subscribe these changes by going to the teamwork and go to the change tracking. So you open up this dialog box. In this dialog box, on the left is actually all the subscription. So you can actually add new subscription over here. And if I click on this, just a moment. Okay, let me close this again and reopen. There's some issue with my okay. So if you add new subscription, you will actually pop up this new subscription table, and you can subscribe to 3 different types of subscription: criteria, selected elements, and project data. So I already created the 3 different types of subscription. So if you create the first subscription by criteria, you can set over here. Let's say I would like to monitor the walls, the load bearing walls. So I will just put in element is wall. So you can also select the different kind of elements here, and you can add in the structure function, which I want it to be load bearing, and the layer to be under structural wall. You can also add in other criteria as well. So let's say your geometry, your height, if there's any changes, etc. Then next you will need to set the parameter sets. So over here, I would like to monitor the geometry and positioning, the structure, the layer, and structure functions. Then I can actually track changes of anyone in the team or the entire team. So I can, if I don't want the entire team and I just want to monitor from, let's say, VMAL, I can actually select this and apply. So for the next subscription type is by selected elements. So selected elements actually means that right now, if let's say I go to the first floor and let me change this to all original color, and let's say I would like to monitor these walls as well, I can actually just click add. So you'll be added to here. And let's say I'm not monitoring the staircase, I can actually remove. Then also similarly, you will need to set the parameter sets, and also you can set the team or user. And the last one will be story settings by project data. So for project data, these are the different types of project data that you can actually monitor them. So in this case, I actually want to just monitor if there's any changes to the story height. So I'll just click on this. So once you have created the 3 your subscription to changes, over here actually shows you there are 3 checkbox. So this checkbox actually means that if I uncheck them, you will just make the subscription temporarily unavailable, and I can actually click apply. So right now I want to subscribe to changes tracking. So I just click apply now. And let's say if Vimal have actually made any changes. So earlier on, he actually made some changes, and I have this pop up here. So it will, if I click on this, it will just show me this dialog box, and it will show me this. Which wall will it be? So I can select. So let's say I can actually receive the changes, then compare. So let me shift this over here. So in this model compare, it's actually comparing between the old model and the received model, which is what we received the changes from Vimal. So the red color represents the old model and the blue color represents the received model. So below here, next to it, you will see that there is this small little arrow, which actually give you 3 options of like you can select the current model, or you can browse from your own file server, or you can actually browse directly to from the BIMCloud. And next to it is actually the view selector. So this view selector is actually allows you to compare the different views or common views. So in this case, it will be a common view like what we are seeing here. Or otherwise, if you don't want to see a common view, you can actually compare between, like, let's say I want to compare my isometric view with ground floor with this first floor. But in this case, since I already received changes from BIMCloud, which already preset a particular view. So I'll just view from there. And below this, you will see two scale bar. This scale bar actually, for the bottom one, is actually to see the transparency, to make the visibility of the model itself for those elements that have no changes. So to the left is actually completely transparent, and to the right is actually to make it more visible. And for the top, if I move to the left, is actually making the changes from the old model, making the element from the old model more visible. And to the right is actually the received model. So I'll keep it here so we can see both the changes, the differences. And below it, the next section is actually the model changes. So I can click and I can see what are the changes made. And if I click, it will just show me which of the elements that have changes. So over here, if you click this, it will just show you this model changes information is based on my subscription of the walls that I want to monitor. And since there is no changes made to this interior wall subscriptions, so if I click on this, there will be nothing. So you can also choose to compare all 3D elements. So if I compare all 3D elements, because BIMCloud have made changes to the height of the wall itself, so the slab over here will also change. So that's why it's highlighting the slab as well. And next to it, this is for you to set which parameter sets you would like to see for the model change. And you also can set the settings on how you want to view your changes. So I can actually put the source, and I can also shift the source to be the first one and the tool to be the second one. So if I select this, so now you'll see that the changes is in this teamwork project, and which tool is it, and you can see is the BIM tool, and what has been modified. So if I click on any of them, let's say on the walls, you can also see at the bottom here, it will show up which parameter sets have been affected. In this case, the structure of this wall have changed. And if you right click on them, you can actually select on floor plan and 3D. So if I click on this, it will just show me directly from my floor plan itself. So other than that, if I click on here, I can actually hide selection, or I can just show this selection. And I can also, let's say these changes, I have already received them, but I don't think that is acceptable. So I can actually right click and add to new issue. And it will bring this to the issue manager, which more information will be covered in the third session of issue manager. So join us for that webinar session to know more about it. So I've already covered all the sections on the teamwork palette. So now let's move on to the BIMCloud project, BIMCloud manager. So if you click on the teamwork, you actually will find all the different commands that is available on the teamwork palette. And to go to BIMCloud manager, you can click from here. So let me log into my BIMCloud, my user account first. So when you log in, by right, it will show you this first interface. So this first interface is actually a summary of all the user activities. So I've already joined a teamwork project, which is one, and this is the teamwork project. And if there is any notifications, so at the top, due to my permission settings, I will only have these 3 tabs. So let me go to the first one. So in BIMCloud, under the projects, you can actually see all the different projects that you have. And over here, if you click, you can actually see BIMCloud project, teamwork project, etc. So if I click teamwork project, then these are all the different teamwork project that is available in my BIMCloud server. So one thing that actually BIMCloud helps with managing the project is with the BIMCloud project, which actually allows you to have multi-level folders to manage all different files of different formats. So if I click here, you can see that I will have a very structured system and consists of the different project data. But unlike the folder system, actually BIMCloud project are able to set themes. So if I click on the folder, you actually won't have this the theme function, the theme option there. So to create this BIMCloud project, you can actually click on click under the more, and you can create BIMCloud project. So if I click, and then you can just type the name, and you can actually convert it back to the folder if you wish to. So now I'll go through the different tabs over here. So under the settings, if you make any settings over here, it will be all your subfolders will be inherited of these settings. So if I edit, you can, because my BIMCloud project is under this folder, I can actually define manually from Archicad, or actually I select a folder. So otherwise I will inherit the libraries from the project root. So I'll cancel, and if I go to themes, I can actually create themes, and I can just add in the different user anytime I want. Then you have so let's say if I go to the client folder, I can actually go to the access and say for the client, okay, I do not have the necessary permission, but okay, let's say I want to customize the permission settings for the client theme. So I'll click on save, and for the client theme, I would like to let them be able to delete and remove folder contents. So over here on the left is actually all the different permission and access they can you can choose. So they can, for the client, I would like to let them do the delete and remove folder content, modify access, modify content, modify details, and these 3. So I'll click save. So the client team will be able to actually put in any documents and remove them as and when they want. But for the architectural team, as I add them in, they will not be able to delete anything. I will only give them the access, the permission to access and view only. So this is all about projects. I haven't go through the different options here. So if you go to snapshots, so this is actually create like a backup copy for your teamwork project or your libraries or any other design design project files. So if you select here, you can actually define locally, and if you select daily, it will just tell you like you will create every day and you need to keep at least 10 copies. If you select the hourly, then you will create every 12 hours and keep last 10 copies. And this is the same for the teamwork project and also the libraries. So I'll cancel them. I'll just inherit from the project root. And for the version is that it's on the folder version, and you will keep all version from the last 14,000 days. So if let's say this folder have always been updated, so and you realize that there's something from maybe on the 4th December, you actually have a particular document in there, but you accidentally delete it. And now then you realize you can actually click to the 4th December and you can actually roll back your folder version. Or you can copy to another folder of that folder version, or you can actually download it. Then the last step, which is on activities, this is where you can see all your users' activities. And lastly, the access, which I have go through it earlier. So going back, under the projects, you can also go to the users. So over here, you can actually see like the users and the user group. So let me switch back to my presentation. So let's say you can also do multiple BIMCloud collaboration, say between two different firms, architectural firm and a structural firm, which they have their own BIMCloud. So let's say one user from the structural team would like to join the architectural firm for some collaboration. They can do it in two ways. Either the architectural firm actually assign a license to Graphisoft ID, or the user from the structural firm can actually bring their own license. So how do you do that is that first you will need to create a new user, so you can invite based on the GSID user. Then after which, so now I already invited this Vimao in. So when I click on Vimao's name, like over here, when it will appear later on, then I'll be able to see all this information, the license information, the personal settings, like their full name, login details, and if they are under any groups or BIMCloud projects and teams. So earlier I mentioned the two ways is that you can change the settings for the license, where if I click on this, you actually let you have the option of assigning license to Graphisoft ID, or you can bring your own license. So for any BIMCloud license, they are actually tagged to active user and not to the devices. So let's say you have 4 different licenses, it will be actually, if nobody is using, it will be a floating license. And if someone is actually using the BIMCloud, then it will be automatically assigned to this user when he's using the BIMCloud for any teamwork project. So one user cannot actually reserve more than 1 license. So okay, I've finished sharing for this session itself. But before we end, I would like to actually share with you on our new challenge, the parametric object factory. So this challenge is to create a parametric object in Archicad using library PubMaker, GDL coding, and Paramore, either freestyle or architectural object. So this challenge, the jury will actually select the most interesting entries, and the winner will actually get attractive prizes like which is written over here, the Apple iPad Pro and Graphisoft Learn vouchers. So these prices, another thing to note is that these prices will be given separately from our international audience, since we are actually an MNC, which means that then you have more chance to win for the Singapore client customers. So don't wait, check it out via this QR code right now. And the entry submission deadline is actually until 22nd January 2023. So I'll keep this a while for I'll keep this screen here for a while. And the next thing is that we have this BIM Author program coming up on Jan 24th, 2023. If you are a person who is very passionate in BIM, but you are very busy at work and still wish to become a productive BIM author, or I will say expert, then this is the course for you. So this program actually allows you to enroll anytime in a 12-month period to its material on foundation and advanced level to become a Graphisoft certified BIM author on modeling, documenting, scheduling, and presenting your project in a collaborative environment. So you can scan the QR code to find out more. So this program will last for a 12-month period, and you can just enroll anytime during this 12-month period. So please follow us on social media also to get notified on future events, and also to boost your knowledge from our YouTube page with tips and tricks and all these webinars. So you can scan this QR code to actually subscribe to it. And that's all for today, and hope you guys have gotten new insight to boost your collaboration to the next level.